Part 43. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 421. The manager's surname was Song. Manager Song took out a piece of white paper from the drawer and a pen from the pen holder on the table. While writing, he said to Zhang Chen, "In this way, the salary is 161 months, with a monthly meal subsidy of 50 yuan, and an additional 20 yuan for a month's perfect attendance bonus. If you don't have a day off on Sunday, it will be considered overtime and you will be paid overtime pay. If you have to work night shift, and another 1 yuan and 2 cents a day for night meals. This is the money you can get every month. When the project is completed, there will be a bonus, but this bonus is given to the entire company by the institute. The specific amount depends on the profitability of each project. How much is distributed to each person will be distributed by comparison at that time, so this, I can only tell you how many there will be, but I can't tell you the specific number now. Are these conditions acceptable to you?" Zhang Chen nodded and said yes. He didn't really think about how much money he had. He just wanted to find a job as soon as possible and settle down first. He really didn't care too much about the salary. Also, during the holidays, the hospital will give out welfare benefits, and you also have them. However, the number can be halved. Is that okay? Manager Song continued to ask. Zhang Chen said yes, no problem, the number will be halved. This is nothing more than showing that he is a temporary worker. Here, he is a second-class citizen, and a second-class citizen is a second-class citizen. Zhang Chen felt funny in his heart. He thought, I am a second-class citizen anyway. Citizens do not rely on others. When can you come to work? Any time is fine, Zhang Chen said. Let's do this. You arrive at 8:30 tomorrow morning. I won't be here tomorrow. When you arrive, find Xiao He. He will take you to the construction site and introduce the workers and Party A to you. You will officially take over. Zhang Chen asked, Manager Song, who is Xiao He? It's just chicken feathers. Zhang Chen smiled and said, then I understand. Manager Song looked at the renderings on the table and asked Zhang Chen, can these be left to me? I put it in the company's information. When customers come, I can give them a reference. After all, you are also a member of our company. Although you are now an on-site manager and not a designer, don't worry. I will help you find a way when I have the opportunity. It's okay, Manager Song. You can keep it. If you need me, just ask me to help with your design ideas. I won't care about my status. Zhang Chen and Manager Song said that they thought that when they first arrived in Haikan, they were not both designers and instructors. Okay, as long as you have this mentality and preparation, I'm very pleased. By the way, can you write down the names of these projects? Manager Song asked Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen said yes. He took out a pencil from the pen holder and wrote the name of the project behind each rendering. He knew that Manager Song wanted to take these renderings and tell the customer that these projects in Hainan, also designed by their company. Zhang Chen really doesn't care. Then I won't keep you any longer. I'll explain to Xiao He later, Manager Song said and stood up. Zhang Chen said goodbye to Manager Song. When he got outside, he first went to the little girl and thanked her. The little girl asked how it was. Zhang Chen told her that she would come to work tomorrow and take care of the base Hishan construction site. The little girl frowned, but immediately told Zhang Chen to ignore him and come in first. Zhang Chen felt that her words were a bit abrupt and there was something in them, but he couldn't ask more questions rashly, so he thanked her again and walked away. He was about to say hello to Ji Fio and then go back. He heard Manager Song shouting, Chicken Feather, come here. Ji Fio stood up and walked towards Manager Song's office. He happened to meet Zhang Chen halfway. He patted Zhang Chen on the shoulder and entered Manager Song's office. Zhang Chen rode his bicycle to the noodle shop on Huixing Road. He didn't bring a lunchbox today, so it was hard to bring noodles with him, so he bought 2 portions of fried noodles with shredded pork and asked the boss to add more spiciness. When passing Kuiwen Hall, Zhang Chen thought about it, and quickly parked his bicycle at the parking lot at the door, walked in, walked to the counter selling noodle tickets at the door, and said, "Give me a braised duck head for 10 yuan. During lunch and dinner at Kuiwen restaurant, there will be some stewed vegetables, such as duck heads, duck intestines, duck feet, etc., which are probably made from the duck scraps from the old duck noodles. What is strange is that these stewed dishes are not made public. There is no price list on the wall, but regular customers and nearby neighbors know it. If you tell the counter directly, the counter will sell it to you." Zhang Chen once came to eat noodles with Teacher Li from the theater troupe, and Teacher Li told him the secret. Zhang Chen hung the noodles and braised duck head on the bicycle handle. When he arrived at the Hunky Hotel, he pushed the bicycle in. He saw a basin of water at Xiao Zhao's feet and a rag in his hand wiping the bicycle. Zhang Chen quickly shouted, I already have frostbite, why should I clean my car? I'm going to ride this car later. If you wipe it out, isn't it dirty again? I feel sad if I don't wipe it, Xiao Zhao said. I come. Zhang Chen handed the noodles and braised duck head to Xiao Zhao and took the cloth from her hand, only to find that there was nothing left to wipe. Xiao Zhao not only wiped the steel rims and every spoke until they were shiny, even the mud in the tire treads has been washed away with water, making it look like a new car. The two of them walked to the duty room and sat down in front of the brazier. Only then did Zhang Chen say to Xiao Zhao, I'm going to work tomorrow. Really? Where? Xiao Zhao opened his eyes wide and shouted excitedly. Zhang Chen told her what to do. Great. I'm telling you, people are rushing to get my man. Xiao Zhao shouted again. There happened to be a passenger who was going out and came here to put the key. When he heard this, he looked at Zhang Chen and couldn't help but laugh. Xiao Zhao's face turned red and he cursed, don't misunderstand me. The passenger smiled and said, what did I misunderstand? What did you say? Why didn't I hear it? Xiao Zhao froze there. The passenger handed her the key, and when he turned to leave, he said, you are a good man, so you really need to be careful. After speaking, he laughed. Xiao Zhao was annoyed, I won't give you the key when you come back. Whatever. The passenger smiled and walked out. Xiao Zhao turned around and saw that Zhang Chen was also looking at her and smiling, and said angrily, you are still laughing, so I am being laughed at. Zhang Chen laughed even harder, it's my fault too, I didn't say anything, you were the only one who said it. Xiao Zhao pouted and snorted, of course it's your fault. You couldn't wait until no one was around to tell me the good news. Should I hold it in until I get home and then tell you? Xiao Zhao stared at him with wide eyes and sighed, that won't work either. Good news will go bad if left for too long. Okay, let's eat noodles and duck heads, Zhang Chen said. Girl, Xiao Zhao giggled, you want to eat me? Zhang Chen said he thought. Xiao Zhao looked out the window, then looked out the door to the corridor. No one was around. She kissed Zhang Chen quickly. Zhang Chen picked up a duck head, took a bite, and said to Xiao Zhao, this duck head is good. Which girl are you talking about good? Both girls are good, but this one is better, Zhang Chen pointed at her. That's pretty much it, Xiao Zhao said with satisfaction. By the way, dear, how much salary do they give you? Xiao Zhao asked. Zhang Chen told her item by item, and Xiao Zhao added item by item. After adding items, he shouted, you're rich, dear, you can get at least 230 yuan a month. Yeah, what's wrong? I'm happy, that's not right, that's not right. What's wrong? Isn't this reasonable? You are almost twice as old as me. Then I'll talk to them tomorrow and ask them to lose some weight, Zhang Chen teased her. No, I will fight with anyone who dares to reduce my man's salary, Xiao Zhao shouted. Zhang Chen laughed again. After a while, Zhang Chen said to Xiao Zhao seriously. Now, with the income of the two of us, after paying the rent and eating, we can buy another bicycle almost every month. Don't worry about your bicycle so much. You have to wipe it every day. If it is dirty, it will be dirty. If it is broken, it will be broken. If it breaks down, we'll buy another one. You'd better protect your hands, got it? Xiao Zhao nodded, and after a while, she shook her head again. She said no, she had to save the money and use it in the future. When Sister Gihua came to take over, Xiao Zhao told Sister Gihua the news. Sister Gihua was also very happy. When Xiao Zhao told her about Zhang Chen's income, she was also surprised, saying it was higher than her salary. It was still high, but she immediately felt relieved. She said this, it was really different. Xiao Zhang's was a technical job, and ours was a rough job, so we couldn't compare. What kind of technical work? Zhang Chen felt funny in his heart. This construction site manager is almost the same as a migrant worker. You go, don't stay here. I'm so happy today, why don't I go to the West Lake and watch a movie to celebrate Sister Gihua and Zhang Chen, Xiao Zhao said. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao parked Xiao Zhao's bicycle in the hotel. Zhang Chen took Xiao Zhao to the West Lake. Today they went to Duanjiao, Beatty and Gus Han. They rode back to Dongpo Road in the evening. At Jiweiguan on Dongpo Road, I ate cat ears, shrimp dumplings and duck blood vermicelli. The two of them walked out of Jiweiguan. Just as Sister Gihua said, they went to the Dongpo Theater nearby and watched the movie Happy Events in the Family starring Leslie Chung, Stephen Chow, Huang Beiming, Maggie Chung, Mo Shenyun, and others. The movie theater laughed all the way outside the movie theater. Snow, snow, honey, it's snowing. Xiao Zhao shouted from behind the bicycle. She put one arm around Zhang Chen's waist, spread her other hand upwards, and raised her head to the air. She saw snowflakes floating in the dark depths above her head, passing through the bare branches of the French plane tree fell into the light of the street lamp, twinkling. Thank you for your monthly pass in May. Thanks for all the votes and reading. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 422. Xiao Zhao changed night shift the next day, so she could stay at home all day. When Zhang Chen got up, she continued to sleep on the bed. Zhang Chen opened the door and exclaimed. What's wrong, dear? Xiao Zhao raised his head from the bed and asked. Zhang Chen opened the door completely. Xiao Zhao also exclaimed and sat up on the bed. From the open door, she saw that the outside was already a world covered in silver. The roofs and vegetable fields far and near were all covered with snow. There is a thick layer of snow, and the chimneys of the brick and tile factory in the distance are slowly spitting out black smoke, like a crack in the sky, or frozen by the snow. When Zhang Chen came downstairs to wash his face, Xiao Zhao also got up. He was wearing a military coat and standing in the corridor outside. Zhang Chen asked curiously, "What are you doing up?" "I want to go play in the snow." Zhang Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He coaxed her into bed and told her to sleep a little longer and wait until she woke up. The snow would not escape and it would not be too late to play in the afternoon. The water in the hot water bottle was boiled. Zhang Chen put his hand into the quilt under Xiao Zhao's heels, took out the hot water bottle, poured out the cold water inside, filled it with hot water, stuffed it back into the quilt, and then put a military coat on the quilt behind your feet so that there is no air leakage, and put another coat on Xiao Zhao's body. Thank you, dear. Xiao Zhao's head was exposed outside the quilt, watching Zhang Chen doing all this, laughing. Zhang Chen kissed her and went out. Xiao Zhao called from behind, "Be careful on the road." Zhang Chen said yes. The road was slippery due to heavy snow. Zhang Chen saw people constantly falling in front of and behind him along the way, especially when he was getting off the Qingtai overpass. Although everyone was very careful, some women even got out of the car and pushed the car, but the snow on the bridge was still there. After being run over by a person and a car, the ice was now frozen and still too slippery. Zhang Chen saw a woman in front of her, and her foot slipped while she was walking, causing her and the car to fall together. Fortunately, Zhang Chen was on guard. While turning the bike, he tiptoed on the ground a few times and avoided her. However, there were 2 or 3 people behind him. He couldn't stop the car and bumped into her. Zhang Chen heard when there was a burst of crying for mom and dad behind him. He didn't dare to look back, nor did he dare to squeeze the car brake to death, and continued to slide towards the bridge. Arriving at the intersection of Qingtai Street and Huancheng East Road under the bridge, Zhang Chen looked at his watch while waiting for the red light and cursed secretly. The snowflakes last night were sparse and melted when they fell to the ground. I didn't expect that there would be such a thick layer of snow on the ground overnight. I got up too late. This stretch of the road alone took twice as long as usual. It is already 8:15. Zhang Chen was secretly anxious. He had finished thinking about it. He was late on the first day of work today. Not only would it have a bad impact, but would the 20 yuan perfect attendance bonus also be wasted? As soon as the red light turned green, Zhang Chen rode out without caring whether the road was slippery or not. Fortunately, the roads in the urban area were crushed by many cars. In addition, it was spring snow. The snow fell to the ground and the knot was not strong. The black concrete pavement was exposed near the middle of the road. There were not many cars on the road. Some people simply left the bicycle lane and rode to the car lane in the middle of the road. Zhang Chen followed and turned up. Zhang Chen rode to the yard of the planning bureau and parked his car in the carport. The carport was empty. Zhang Chen looked at his watch while running. It was already 8:30. Zhang Chen ran to the door of the company, but was surprised. He saw that the company didn't even open the door, let alone anyone. Could it be that I misheard that manager Song said it was this morning, or that today was a day off? No, today is obviously Friday. There was snow in his shoes, which made him feel uncomfortable with the cold and wet. Zhang Chen kept stamping his feet in the hall, rubbing his hands together, and looking out at the yard. He saw a few people coming from outside the gate. When I came in and walked to the planning bureau building, I realized that it was not that I had remembered wrongly, but that I had come early, or more precisely, that other people were late. The people in the planning bureau are more formal, and someone has already arrived. This building is in another world, so it will be later. Zhang Chen waited in the foyer for more than 10 minutes before he saw the little girl walking in from the door holding an umbrella. When she saw Zhang Chen, the little girl asked, "So early?" "Yeah, I'll wait for the chicken feathers," Zhang Chen told her. Well, with the weather like today, you have to wait patiently." The little girl opened the door and said to herself, "In this damn weather, we can't even ride in a car. If we have to squeeze into the bus will be packed into a big pie." Zhang Chen couldn't help but smile when he heard her metaphor. He followed the little girl in, and the little girl continued walking inside. Zhang Chen walked to the sofa and just sat down when he heard a scratching sound in the office. Zhang Chen stood up and took a look, and saw the little girl holding an iron pot with her feet, with half ashes in the pot, coming over here. Zhang Chen hurried over, bent down to pick up the pot, and asked, "Where to take it?" "Light the fire in the hall," said the little girl. Zhang Chen took the pot and put it in the hall. When he turned around, he saw the little girl cheering again and pushing a wooden packaging box with her feet. He hurried over and saw that there was a newspaper padded in the packaging box. It was filled with steel charcoal. Zhang Chen picked it up and carried it to the foyer. The little girl picked up a newspaper folder on the newspaper rack next to the sofa, followed it out, and asked Zhang Chen if he had a lighter. Zhang Chen said yes. The little girl pulled a piece of Zhejiang Daily from the newspaper folder, crumpled it into a loose ball, threw it into the pot, and told Zhang Chen to light it. Zhang Chen first placed a few steel charcoal sticks on the pile of newspapers, and then used a lighter to light the newspapers below. The little girl had already taken off the stack of newspapers from the newspaper folder, folded them in half again, and used them as a fan. Puff, puff, puff. Fanning the ground, after a while, the steel charcoal burst into flames. Zhang Chen quickly took a few more steel charcoal and pressed it on. Zhang Chen walked to the yard, grabbed a handful of snow, and wiped the charcoal ash off his hands. When he walked back to the hall, the little girl was already warming herself by the fire with her hands spread out. Two people came in from outside the door. When they saw the fire, they didn't say hello to them. They squeezed to the side, stretched out their hands to grill for a while, and then went upstairs. The little girl looked at their backs, curled her lips, and said to Zhang Chen, "Huh, move inside and don't let them bake." The tone of her words was a bit angry. Zhang Chen understood that he was not a second-class citizen, but a third-class citizen. To those people upstairs, although the company downstairs was generating income for them, the people downstairs were second-class citizens, temporary workers like Zhang Chen, who are second-class citizens, can only be demoted to another level. Zhang Chen just finished thinking and thought again, where are the third-class citizens? The people in this courtyard and that building are cotters. Compared with the business establishment in this building, they are first-class citizens. Well, I will lower myself to another class. Became a fourth-class citizen. Zhang Chen tore a newspaper in half, folded it, and placed it on both ends of the pot to prevent it from burning his hands. Then he picked up the pot, returned to the company, and placed the pot on the sofa. The two of them were on the L-shaped sofa. Sit at a right angle and warm yourself over the fire. The little girl's name was Zhou Yaqian, and she was the company's cashier. After feeling a little familiar, Zhang Chen asked Zhou Yaqian, what was so special about the Base Mountain project. Zhou Yaqian looked at him and told him that projects are not special, people are. How to say? That Taiwanese boss is very troublesome and has many demands. It's normal for Party A to have many demands. Zhou Yaqian sneered, then if Party A demands too much and meets a very cool designer and just ignores him, do you think it's troublesome? No one can handle that construction site. Several people have been replaced. Be careful. Why are the chicken feathers so pulled? Because he is a chicken. How to say? Everyone else in this company was transferred down from the building unwillingly, including the manager. He was the only one who came down at his own request. Why? He feels free here. Besides, if he wants to go up, he can go up at any time. Why? Because he is a chicken. Zhang Chen was still puzzled and asked, why? Are you 100,000 wise? Zhou Yaqian said. After saying this, she and Zhang Chen both laughed. His father is the deputy director in that building and the oldest one, Zhou Yaqian said, and Zhang Chen understood. Someone came, and Zhang Chen quickly gave up his seat to him. Zhou Yaqian told Zhang Chen to bring a stool. Zhang Chen went to get a stool. The three of them sat down and continued to warm themselves by the fire. Then someone else come, Zhang Chen gave him the stool, took another stool, and they became tianzi. People kept coming in, and the words gradually became no longer words, but became a circle of people crowded around each other. Zhang Chen unknowingly retreated outside this circle. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 423. Anyway, the manager is not here today, so everyone in the office gathered here to warm themselves by the fire. It is freezing. Who wants to sit in front of a cold table, facing the cold glass tabletop on the table, although there are also glass tabletops for others. It can be heated by plugging it in, but it only warms the hands, and the feet are still cold. There are men and women huddled here to warm themselves by the fire. The sofa was already occupied, and even the coffee table was pulled away, with 2 people sitting on it. Jiang Chen stood aside, with nowhere to sit and nowhere to go. It was too embarrassing to just stand aside like this, so Jiang Chen had no choice but to stand in front of the newspaper rack, pick up the newspaper folder of Jianzhong Evening News, and kept flipping through it, deliberately pretending to read the newspaper, but in fact he didn't read a word of it. Thinking anxiously in his heart, when will that bastard Ji Fio come? After 10 o'clock, Ji Fio finally walked in from the door. As soon as he saw Jiang Chen, he shouted, "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you were waiting for me here. It's so cold. Let's warm up first." Ji Fei squeezed into the crowd and cooked for a while. He looked up and saw that Jiang Chen was still standing in front of the newspaper stand reading the newspaper, so he shouted to Jiang Chen, "Hey, whoever it is, it's almost time for lunch, or we can go there in the afternoon." Zhou Nyaqiang scolded, "Ji Fio, don't go too far. I've been here since 8 o'clock and have been waiting for you all morning." Others also cursed, "Ji Fei, if you don't go, the Taiwanese will come looking for you again." After hearing these words, Ji Fio stood up and walked to Jiang Chen, patted his shoulder and said, "Let's go." The 2 people walked into the yard. The snow had stopped at this time. Ji Fio asked Jiang Chen, "How did you get here?" "Ride a bike." "Great, then you take me." Jiang Chen took Ji Fio to the end of Baoka Road near the West Lake. He turned right and entered from the next lane behind the Provincial Tourism Bureau. After riding uphill for 20 or 30 meters, he saw a cement door opening on the right-hand side. Inside the door opening with the light on, Ji Fio and Jiang Chen said, "Here we are." "Here." Jiang Chen pointed to the doorway and asked. He looked to the left and right. There were no other buildings. There was an alley across from the doorway. There was a 2 or 3-story Jiaofang. Above the Jiaofang were the Provincial Tourism Bureau, the Provincial China Travel Service, and the Provincial China Travel Service. Jiang Chen saw that this doorway should be the exit of an air raid shelter buried under Base He Mountain. This air raid shelter is not part of the city's civil air defense project. During the anti-imperialist anti-repair period in the late 1960s and early 1970s, a vigorous mass movement to dig air raid shelters was launched across the country. Almost every household was mobilized and everyone participated in the war. This was one of the hundreds of air raid shelters dug by the people in Hangzhou at that time. It had long been abandoned. Unexpectedly, the Taiwanese boss took a fancy to this place and wanted to transform the air raid shelter into the Liuxia Song and Dance Hall. Ji Fio and Jiang Chen said that this air raid shelter also has an exit on Baoka Road. Our bureau has approved that it change the exit to Baoka Road. The public flower bed at the door will be used as a parking lot for them. The 2 people walked in through the door, and there was a long passage inside. On both sides of the passage, there were small rooms of more than 10 or 20 square meters. The air raid shelter was filled with smoke, and the 2 people almost choked and escaped. Hearing their coughs, many people came out of the small room on the side. When they saw the chicken feathers, some people cursed. "Ji Fei, we've stopped working for 3 days. How the hell are you going to get our wages? If you can't find me, you can find him if you have something to do." Ji Fio pointed at Jiang Chen and said to those people, "He is your new leader. If you have any requests, just tell him. Then let's make it clear, do you want to do the work here? If not, we're leaving," someone said angrily. "Of course I'll do it. If I don't, why will I send you a leader?" Ji Fei replied loudly. Jiang Chen sniffed and hurriedly took a few steps forward. He found that the smoke was coming from two small rooms on the side. It turned out that the workers had nothing to do and the weather was cold, so they took some scraps of boards. Material, 2 fires were lit inside. Zhang Chen quickly shouted, "Quickly put out the fire." "What are you doing? This is a cave. There is nothing to burn except stones." "What are you afraid of?" someone said nonchalantly. "Nonsense," Zhang Chen scolded, "if you do this for a long time, you will become deprived of oxygen and you will get carbon dioxide poisoning." "So what?" "How?" Zhang Chen shouted, "by the time you feel dizzy and want to stand up and escape, your limbs are already weak and you can't even stand up. There is no time to escape." As soon as Zhang Chen said this, everyone was startled, and someone shouted, "Mom, no wonder I feel so dizzy." When he shouted, everyone said they had the same feeling. Zhang Chen said, "That's a slight poisoning. The fire is almost extinguished, so people should go outside and breathe a dozen minutes of fresh air before coming in." Someone immediately pulled a rubber water pipe. Zhang Chen took it and told him to open the faucet and get out. Zhang Chen knew that when the fire went out, the most oxygen would evaporate. Zhang Chen took the water pipe and put out both fires, and then he and Ji Fio walked out. Ji Fio was also frightened and cursed, "What the this old Ying doesn't even know how to explain this. I really want to do this. A few people are suffocated here, what do you think will happen to us? This is a responsible accident, and the person responsible will go to jail," Zhang Chen said. "Okay, I leave this place to you. You are responsible. I want to leave this place of right and wrong." Ji Fio said and wanted to leave. There was actually another reason why he wanted to leave. When they came in earlier, he saw the Taiwanese boss's horseboy at the entrance of the alley. He disappeared in a flash. Ji Fio was sure that he must have called the Taiwanese boss. The boss is here. When a Taiwanese boss comes, he doesn't know how to invite him to dinner. He only talks about it and delays his meal. Ji Fio wanted to leave, but it was already too late. He saw the Taiwanese boss coming in from the entrance of the alley. Ji Fio wanted to escape, but there was nowhere to escape. If he escaped further into this alley, he would have to escape to Base He Mountain. Before the Taiwanese boss even got close, he shouted, "Mr. He, I finally found you." "Why are you looking for me?" Ji Fio said angrily, pointing at Zhang Chen. "If you have anything to do, talk to him. I want to talk to you about the communication plan again. Then look for him too. I don't care about this matter. It has nothing to do with me from now on. Don't look for me again." The Taiwanese boss looked at Zhang Chen and asked, "Are you in charge here now?" Zhang Chen didn't know what he meant by being responsible, but he thought that since he was here to manage the construction site, of course he was responsible. Before Zhang Chen could say anything, Ji Fio said first. "Yes, he is responsible for it. You also communicate with him about the plan. He is also the designer." Zhang Chen had no choice but to nod. Ji Fio quickly left them alone, walked out of the alley, and threw Zhang Chen to the Taiwanese boss and the workers. The Taiwanese boss shook hands with Zhang Chen and said, "My surname is Liu, and the single name is the word Bang." "Yes, it is Liu Bang, the ancestor of the Han Dynasty, Liu Bang." "May I ask what your surname is?" Zhang Chen said, "The surname Zhang is also a single name, with the word morning, which means morning." Both of them laughed, and Boss Liu said, "It can be seen that Mr. Zhang is an easy person to communicate with. Alas, I really have a headache during this project." "What's wrong?" Zhang Chen asked. "We came to invest from Taiwan. To be honest, the leaders in mainland China are very good and welcome us, but these little devils are difficult to deal with and there is no way to communicate." Zhang Chen quickly said, "It doesn't matter. If we have problems, we will solve them. I think the goals of both of us are the same. We both want to complete this project as soon as possible." Yes, Mr. Zhang, I wish you could understand this. A worker came over and asked, Manager Zhang, what are we doing today? We can't be asked to come here early in the morning every day, sit here all day and then go back again, without getting paid. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said to him, in this case, I have just arrived and I don't know anything about the situation on the construction site. You can go back today. I will take a look and make arrangements later. Come over tomorrow morning and I promise to let you start work. The worker muttered that he had wasted another long time in vain. Although his face was unhappy, he thought that what Zhang Chen said made sense, so he was ready to go back to the cave and notify others to go home. Zhang Chen stopped him and asked, Master, what do you call me? As he spoke, he took out cigarettes from his pocket and handed one to the other party. When he handed it to Boss Lu raised the longevity cigarette in his hand and said with a smile, I am only used to smoking this. The worker took the cigarette and said to Zhang Chen, Manager, just call me Daniel. Okay, Master Daniel, go and get the construction drawings of several teams for me, as well as the project schedule. I'll see how you can arrange to start work tomorrow. Mr. Zhang, our plan. Boss Lu shouted. Zhang Chen understood what he meant. He wanted to say that if the revised plan was not finalized, how could the work continue? Zhang Chen said to him, it's okay. Let's deal with the plan in the afternoon and adjust it in one step, okay? Great, Boss Lu said happily. Daniel took 2 steps and then came back. He asked Zhang Chen, Manager, what other watches do you think you have? Project schedule. Daniel looked at Zhang Chen with a confused look on his face. Zhang Chen asked curiously, you don't even have a project schedule? Then how do you work and how do you calculate the project volume? Lao Ying tells us every day what work should be done today and how much it will cost. We just finish it and wait for him to arrange it the next day, Daniel said. Zhang Chen smiled bitterly and shook his head. He said, okay, just give me the construction drawings and the progress of the project. I will go in and see it myself later. He handed most of the pack of cigarettes to Daniel and told him to give them to the workers to smoke. However, when working in such a confined space, you must pay attention to safety and don't smoke next to flammable and explosive items. In the event of an accident, the fire will seal the passage and it will be too late to escape. Daniel quickly said yes. Thank you Void Sleeping Dream for your monthly ticket. Thank you for the rewards from the third one from top to bottom, Wow Tin Soldier, On the Shore 131, and reading books every day. Thank you for every recommendation, vote and reading. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 424. Boss Lu said to Zhang Chen, Mr. Zhang, can I invite you to have a casual meal at Wanghu Hotel, where I live? Zhang Chen quickly said, no, Boss Lu, thank you. I still want to take a good look at this place first and have an idea in my mind. This way, when we discuss the plan in the afternoon, we will be on target. You and I are not talking about the same thing. Boss Lu nodded and said, I admire Mr. Zhang's professional attitude very much. Now, my head doesn't hurt so much. So, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we will drink tea and chat at the Wanghu Tower in front. Zhang Chen said yes. Daniel came over with some dirty blue drawings. Zhang Chen saw that the drawings were full of stains and vegetable soup. Some of them had holes burned by cigarette butts, and they were filled with obscene words written in pen. Zhang Chen couldn't help but frown. Zhang Chen flipped through several drawings and asked Daniel, are they all here? Daniel is right. Not even a general plan. Daniel looked at him blankly again, not knowing what he was talking about. Zhang Chen shook his head and asked Boss Lu, do you have a set of drawings there? Boss Lu said, yes, it's in the car. Do you want me to call my little brother and go get it right away? Zhang Chen said yes, thank you. Do you want a rendering? It's best to give it to me too, so that I can have a comprehensive understanding first. When we discuss it in the afternoon. Only when you know what you know can you be targeted, Boss Lu said, and Zhang Chen nodded with a smile. Zhang Chen felt that Boss Lu was not very reasonable and easy to communicate with, so why would the entire company find him difficult to deal with? Boss Liu's younger brother came over with a package of drawings. Boss Lu handed the drawings and the package to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen said, "Then I will go in first and take a look at it." Boss Lu said, "Yes, we'll meet at Wanghu Tower at 2 o'clock. Zhang Chen walked into the air raid shelter. Daniel and the others had already left, leaving only one person watching the construction site. Zhang Chen asked him for a flashlight, found the general plan from his bag, and went into the air raid shelter alone. After looking at the general plan and on-site inspection, Zhang Chen understood why Boss Lu took a fancy to this place. This air raid shelter looks inconspicuous from the outside, but the space inside is very large, covering more than 1,000 square meters. Not only is it large in area, it is also different from ordinary air raid shelters. The floor height is very high, nearly 4 meters. Zhang Chen can imagine that many professionals must have participated in this project at the time and invested huge financial and material resources. It was definitely not it can be built only by the enthusiasm of the revolutionary masses. Zhang Chen walked 20 or 30 meters into the passage. A hall of 70 or 80 square meters appeared in front of him. This should be the center of the air raid shelter. Zhang Chen took a flashlight and shook it. Extending from here, there are 3 passages on the left, middle, and right. Zhang Chen picked up the general plan and looked at it. The passage on the right should be the exit to Baoka Road. The future gate would be here. Zhang Chen decided to take a look here first. The air raid shelter is warm in winter and cool in summer. The temperature inside is many degrees higher than outside, but it still feels cold, especially because the musty smell inside is very strong. After Zhang Chen walked for a while, he felt that it was starting to be difficult to breathe. The further inside he got, the worse he felt. This feeling. Zhang Chen walked inside. There were still small rooms on both sides of the passage. After walking for 30 or 40 meters, a space of more than 100 square meters appeared in front of him. Zhang Chen took a flashlight to look around and saw a door opposite. The iron gate is open. Zhang Chen walked over and took a look. Behind the iron gate, there was a passage that was twice as wide as other places. This passage was very short, only 5 or 6 meters. At the end of the passage, there was another iron gate. This iron gate closed. Yes, outside the iron gate should be the flower bed at Baoku intersection. This should be the entrance when the air raid shelter was originally built. Over there in the next lane is the exit. Zhang Chen decided that this door should be opened immediately so that the air in the entire air raid shelter can circulate. Also, the entire ventilation system must be installed first, otherwise there will be many potential safety risks when construction proceeds inside. Zhang Chen stepped back and walked through the other passages. 2 passages were relatively long. Once inside, these 2 passages connected to a hall of 40 or 50 meters long. The other passage went to the end and was broken. Headway. After walking through it, he roughly had an idea in his mind. He also looked at the parts that the workers had completed. He saw that it was all reinforcement work. There was actually no need to stop this part, because no matter how you change the plan, the reinforcement work it always has to be done first, and the current shutdown is entirely caused by the lack of communication between Party A and Party B, and the lack of clear work goals for the workers. Zhang Chen sighed. He felt that the management of this entire project was really messy. Even if they let second-hand people come in, they would not control it like this, including the entire company. Although Zhang Chen had only been there 3 times today, he felt that it was too messy. It's so strange that such a company can still receive business despite the chaos, and the business is actually pretty good. Zhang Chen put the general drawing back into his bag and took out the renderings to look at. He was shocked when he saw that the renderings were actually printed. Although the printing quality was not comparable to that of Chu Tianlin and his company. However, the cost is also high enough. To produce so many editions, it is impossible to print only a few volumes. Zhang Chen thought for a moment and understood. On the other hand, it may be because it cannot just be kept by Party A and Party B, it may be needed by the local government and the bureau, and there are many other places that need it. Designer, it is impossible to draw so much by hand, so the only choice is printing, even if the cost is higher. Although there were lights in the air raid shelter, it was not enough. The renderings looked messy. Zhang Chen walked outside the air raid shelter and opened the renderings again. After only reading 2 pages, he took a deep breath. He felt that if he followed this effect after the construction is completed, this place will definitely be miserable. The entire rendering is a hodgepodge of things put together. Zhang Chen can tell at a glance that these things are completely copied from those foreign decoration albums, that is, how to get high-end, how come it is so magnificent, without looking at the specific environment and objective conditions here at all. There is no problem if you look at one picture alone, but if you put them together, the problem is bigger. It can be said that this design is like a zombie. You can dress it in gorgeous clothes, or you can make it look rosy and lifelike, but in the end deadly, it is lifeless. A zombie is a zombie, and no matter how you dress it up, it cannot change the fact that it is a zombie. This kind of design has no soul and personality. It can be seen from this kind of work that the designer is also a boring zombie with no vitality. This is very consistent with that guy. Zhang Chen shook his head. He knew why Boss Lu had such objections to this design. Anyone with a little knowledge would understand that there are problems with such a design, let alone someone who would think of transforming an air raid shelter into an entertainment city. People, he must have special requirements and want to bring a different feeling to his customers. Design is not water without a source. When you design a house, you must take into account the surrounding natural environment. This is especially true for decoration design. You cannot break away from the mother body, which is the existence of the building itself where your project is located. Just look at this rendering and this kind of decoration style. If you put it in a modern building, it might not be a big problem, because the building itself will give you extra points. Customers will walk into the grand lobby and take the elevator with shiny stainless steel walls. Going up, the elevator door opens, and what you see in front of you is a grandeur, and you will feel that everything is harmonious. But it is particularly inappropriate to put it here, because it is at the bottom of the mountain, in an air raid shelter, and the narrow space does not give you much room to display. What's funny is that Zhang Chen saw that in this rendering, a suspended ceiling was built on top of this passage that was barely cramped now, and parapets and dados were built on both sides. What the hell was going on here? Into a dog hole? All style and magnificence are based on large spaces. You can make a space of dozens of square meters very comfortable and warm, even fashionable and avant-garde, but it is difficult to give people a feeling of magnificence. Besides, if Party A just wants style and magnificence, why would he choose this cave and just find a building and take down 2 or 3 floors? Zhang Chen felt that the problem was serious. This plan was no longer a matter of modification and adjustment. If we followed this approach, no matter how we modified or adjusted it, it would only become a joke in the end. Zhang Chen felt that he should go back to the company immediately and tell Manager Song his thoughts to see how to solve it. The only way now was to tear down the entire plan and start over. Zhang Chen turned on the key to his bicycle and was about to get on the bike when he realized that Manager Song was not in the company today. Zhang Chen sighed and thought, let's see what Boss Lu means in the afternoon and see if he wants to start over and start over. After all, he approves of the original plan anyway. Maybe there are still people who are willing to build a thatched house with gold paint on the outside, inlaid with a lot of gems, surrounded by a palace base, with 9 floors, and then put a dragon chair on such a platform. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 425. Zhang Chen rode to Baoka Road, found a restaurant, and ordered a bowl of noodles. While waiting for the noodles, he took out the general drawings and looked at them. He tried his best to eliminate the bad taste left by those renderings in his mind. Impressions: consider the entire scheme from scratch. If the original plan is not scrapped and restarted, and Zhang Chen is asked to manage such a construction site every day, Zhang Chen feels that it will be a daily torture, but if he wants to scrap it and start over, he must have a general idea, otherwise how will he convince Boss Lu? After eating the noodles, Zhang Chen went back to the air raid shelter and walked around again, and then ran to the flower bed at the Baoku intersection. He saw that at the exit of the air raid shelter, a hollow wall was now built as the background of the flower bed. Zhang Chen used his eyes to measure the land that had been used for this project, and he had a rough idea. He looked at the time and saw that there was still half an hour before 2 o'clock. He simply parked his bicycle in the air raid shelter and walked over. Wanghu Tower is not far from here, just below Jiaohang on the Provincial Tourism Bureau side. It is located between a small stone culvert road under Jiaohang and Baishan Street, which is close to the West Lake. Wanghu Tower is a small ancient wooden structure building with 3 floors, with scattered seats on the first and second floors and private rooms on the third floor. The tea house is backed by a mountain and faces the lake. A black lacquered plaque hanging between the beams in the middle reads, Wanghu Tower. 3 big characters, with vigorous strokes, vertical and horizontal postures, fat pens with bones, thin pens with flesh, are the handwriting of Huang Tingjian, a great calligrapher in the Song dynasty. In the snowy weather, not only was the tea house not deserted, but it was bustling with people and tea-goers, just because it was a good place to drink tea and enjoy the snow. Zhang Chen walked from Xi'an Road to the tea house. It was just before 1:40. He thought it was still early and Boss Lu and the others might not have arrived yet, so he wanted to walk a few dozen meters ahead to see the remaining snow on the broken bridge. Unexpectedly, Boss Liu's the younger brother was already waiting for him at the door of the tea house and took him to a private room on the 3rd floor facing the lake, where Boss Lu was already here. Although it is cold and windy outside, the window of the private room is open. Aren't those who come here to drink tea come to enjoy the snow and lake view? If the window is closed, the smell of snow and West Lake will fade out. Zhang Chen sat down opposite Boss Lu and looked outside. He had a panoramic view of the West Lake inside and outside. The heavy snow had begun to clear, but the rime was foggy. The sky, clouds, mountains, and water were all white, and the shadows on the lake were only long. A trace of the embankment, a little pavilion in the center of the lake. Looking into the distance, Chenghuang Mountain, Zizao Mountain, and Nanping Mountain across the lake are like giant dragons lying on the waves, vast and vast. This place is so nice, Zhang Chen couldn't help but sigh. Boss Lu smiled and said, yes, when I have a headache, I can only feel better if I sit here and drink a pot of Longjing tea. Zhang Chen also smiled and said, then you come here to drink often. This is a pun, that is, a joke. Chicken feathers often give Boss Lu a headache. Boss Lu laughed loudly after hearing this. He said that it was true, it was true. Zhang Chen took out the renderings and put them on the table. He asked Boss Lu, where do you hope to make modifications and adjustments in this plan? Boss Lu looked at the renderings, frowned, and said to Zhang Chen, I really want to throw the whole book outside. Zhang Chen was surprised and asked, what? There is no place in this that I am satisfied with. Boss Lu is not satisfied, so how can he approve this plan? Oh, I can't help it, Boss Lu complained repeatedly when he heard Zhang Chen's words. He said, I have been waiting for the design draft for this project for more than 7 months, and there was a lot of procrastination and changes in the middle. Countless drafts have gone through, and it's still like this. Your designer and I are almost at war. I really have no choice, and I can't afford to delay it any longer. 7 months, Zhang Chen was even more surprised. He asked, then why didn't you choose a few more companies to provide you with a plan, and you chose the one you were satisfied with? I'm sorry, when I say this, I am suspected of cheating. But isn't that what Party A does? It's normal for Party B to have several plans competing on the same stage. Boss Lu stared at Zhang Chen and asked, Mr. Zhang, are you new here? Zhang Chen nodded. Boss Lu smiled bitterly and said, then you really don't know much about your company. Do you think I have a choice? Well, doesn't Party A choose Party B for decoration? Party B? Your company is not Party B, it's the boss. If I don't give this project to your company, my planning adjustment won't be approved. Zhang Chen suddenly realized that he finally understood what Boss Lu meant when he said that the kid was difficult to deal with. He also understood why his company was so bad but still had such good business. It was all because it was backed by the big tree of the planning bureau. This entire operation process can be said to be that one hand receives the contract and the other hand hands out the approval document. Didn't Manager Song tell himself that his company is to generate income for the bureau? This humming thing is worse than forced buying and selling, it's almost like an open robbery. Boss Lu said with a grimace, to tell you the truth, Mr. Zhang, what we are most afraid of when we come to mainland China to invest is dealing with companies run by these government departments. It is really difficult to describe. I believe that these companies will be liquidated sooner or later, otherwise it will seriously retard the economic development of various parts of the mainland. Zhang Chen nodded, he was right, and I also thought it would definitely be cleared. Okay, let's not talk about him. Let's talk about our own affairs. Mr. Zhang, I heard that you are also a designer. Yes, Zhang Chen said, I was doing design when I was in Haikan. Then what would you do if I asked you for advice? Just like you. How? Zhang Chen patted the rendering and said to Boss Lu, I will also throw it out the window. Boss Lu was stunned for a moment, then he laughed, his eyes lit up, and he said, haha, heroes really think alike. Tell me, what do you think? Zhang Chen hesitated for a moment. He was thinking, should he just deny the design plan of Ji-Fei with Party A? Especially if we have to completely overthrow his plan and start from scratch. Will this give people the feeling of poaching? He thought of what Ji-Fei had said to Boss Lu and himself before, saying that he had no control over this project and that it had nothing to do with him from now on. Zhang Chen would be responsible for solving all design problems, including design issues. Since you don't care about it, there's nothing wrong with me taking care of it, right? Zhang Chen thought. Zhang Chen then told Boss Lu all his concerns about the original plan. Boss Lu nodded frequently. He stood up and said it was too cold. He walked over and closed the window. After he came back and sat down, he said to Zhang Chen. Mr. Zhang, you are right. I have always felt that it doesn't work here, but I don't work in this field, and I just can't explain why it doesn't work. Mr. Zhang is indeed an expert. You can understand it with just a few clicks. It's true. That's what happened. Mr. Zhang, I would like to ask again, if we come up with another plan, how long will it take? 1 week, but it won't affect the construction here. I've seen the construction site here and it's still in the stage of reinforcement work. There's no need to stop, because no matter what the plan is, the reinforcement work must be done first, Zhang Chen explained. Okay, you can arrange this. I want to ask, 1 week? Can you come up with a plan so soon? Boss Lu asked. Okay, actually, I already have a rough idea. Speak quickly, Mr. Zhang, tell me what you think. Zhang Chen thought for a moment and said to Boss Lu, this place you chose is very unique. You must have your own ideas. Tell me first, what do you want this place to be like? I just don't want to make it like this. Boss Lu pointed to the renderings and said to Zhang Chen, I hope to make it a very special place that people will never forget after coming here. Zhang Chen smiled and nodded, and said, what a coincidence, my idea coincides with Boss Liu's idea. Really? Then tell me your idea, Boss Lu shouted. I have already mentioned the disadvantages of making this place a general KTV. Strictly speaking, having a KTV in an air raid shelter will give people a very depressing feeling and is not very suitable. But if we give full play to its advantages, when it comes out, it can be made into a place that is very special, as you say, and others cannot imitate it even if they want to. The biggest feature of an air raid shelter is that it is a confined space. This is its disadvantage. It seems inappropriate for anything, but it is very suitable for KTV. Why? Boss Lu interrupted. Zhang Chen smiled and continued, don't you think that KTV itself is also a closed space? Even in rooms with windows, the windows will be sealed. We have saved this step. That's true, you're right. Boss Lu also smiled. I went in and walked around twice. The characteristics of the air raid shelter itself, the long, winding, undulating passages, and the domed rooms on both sides of the passages, this kind of structure, you can't find in any building. It can't be found here. In addition, when people walk in, they know that they are walking at the bottom of the mountain. The mysterious and inquiring psychological changes it brings, if we can make good use of it, will certainly leave people with a different feeling. Zhang Chen spoke eloquently. Boss Lu listened with interest, but there was a trace of doubt in his eyes. Zhang Chen understood his feelings and said, okay, let me give you some specific ideas. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 426. After hearing Zhang Chen's specific idea, Boss Lu sat upright and stared at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen took out his sketchbook and pencil from his bag, spread them out, and explained to Boss Lu while drawing. My idea is to preserve the original appearance of the interior as much as possible, including the exposed stone roofs and stone walls, keeping the original rough style, as well as the slogans and posters painted on the stone walls. There is a strong mark of the times, and the focus is on sound insulation and sound attenuation in each room. I've looked at the passage inside, and it's not difficult to dig further down. We dig a trench in the middle of the passage, bury the ventilation ducts, air conditioning ducts, and other necessary pipes, including sewer pipes, underneath, and lay them on top. The stone slab is installed so that it can be easily opened when repairs are needed. On the top, you see, just like this, install a miner's lamp all the way. Yes, it is this kind of miner's lamp with a wire cover on the outside. In this way, when people walk in the passage, they will have the feeling of walking in a tunnel, isn't it? Mystery. Each room, this is the place that requires the most work. Those rooms now have no doors. We have renovated them and installed doors. They are the kind of heavy-looking wooden doors in underground wine cellars, but they are opening and closing must be very light. We made these rooms look like wine cellars. Of course the sofas in them should be very comfortable, but for the coffee table, we bought an old bench work table and sawed the legs short. Also, use the table of a milling machine, planer, or lathe to dismantle the upper machine head, and put two pieces together to make a coffee table. These things are sold at the scrap steel market on Shaoxing Road. They are easy to find and the price is very cheap. If you have anvils or something like that, you can also buy some and use them as stools. In short, all the appliances inside should be modified with the spare parts of these old machines as much as possible. Do not refresh them, just clean them. In such an environment, these old machines give off a dark metallic luster, which will bring strong senses to people. Stimulate. The door outside also retains the two heavy iron doors of the original air raid shelter. The door is very inconspicuous. The original design was to be inconspicuous. They plan to use it to hide bombs. Who knows that one day it will become an entertainment venue. This gate must be renovated. After we demolish the flower beds and walls outside, there will be a whole piece of exposed rock at the foot of Gemstone Mountain. I have seen that place. The area is too small. If there is not enough space to expand outside, what should we do? It is not even built, but a gantry crane is placed at the door frame is placed inside the gantry crane, and a gantry crane is erected at the Baoku intersection. This is eye-catching in itself. This gantry crane echoes the old machinery inside, but this one is different from the one inside because it is outdoors and we have to deal with it. How to deal with it? We painted the entire huge gantry crane in orange, the brightest red. The red gantry crane stood there and lit up the entire place and the entire Baoku Road. In the West Lake, tourists on the side can see it at a glance, it's so eye-catching. Zhang Chen was painting as he talked, and Boss Lu became excited. He kept slapping the table with his hands and shouting. Good. Good. This is good. Very good. Oh, Mr. Zhang, I just can't say it or draw it. This is what I want. I talked to your designer for a long time, but he couldn't understand it. All he came up with were ugly things like this. Boss Lu shouted while taking pictures of the renderings. Do you agree with this plan? Zhang Chen asked. I couldn't agree more. Then the name also needs to be changed. Your original Liuxia doesn't fit this one, right? Hey, what you said is really inappropriate, Boss Lu said. I thought of one for you, but I don't know if it's suitable, Zhang Chen said. Say it quickly. Secret cellar, secret cellar, secret cellar, cellar of wine cellar, secret cellar KTV, aren't the rooms inside us all like wine cellars? Isn't this a little special? Ahaha, Boss Lu laughed, that's it, secret cellar KTV, it's great. Zhang Chen's mouth felt dry. He put down his pencil and took a sip of tea. Boss Lu asked him, Mr. Zhang, based on your idea, can you start making plans right away? Zhang Chen said no. Why not? Boss Lu shouted. I'm going to talk to our manager tomorrow morning. I guess he won't care much about whether the plan is changed or not. But there is one thing he will definitely be concerned about. After all, you have already signed a contract for this project. Boss Lu understood and said, what do I think? I'm just worried about the cost. Tell your manager that if the calculated cost is lower than the original, I will pay the original contract amount and an additional 100,000 yuan. If it's higher than the original cost, I'll pay the new cost, plus an additional 100,000 yuan, as long as I switch to this plan. Zhang Chen smiled and said, that shouldn't be a big problem, but I still have to ask for permission first before I talk to you. Of course, of course. Boss Lu wrote a room number and a phone number in Zhang Chen's sketchbook, and told Zhang Chen, this is my room number of Wanghu Hotel and the phone number of the hotel's switchboard. If you have any news, please call. Give me. Zhang Chen said yes, no problem. Boss Lu stretched his waist and smiled happily, oh, Mr. Zhang, your headache has been cured from the root. Zhang Chen also laughed, me too, designers will be very happy when they meet a client who shares the same philosophy. The two of them were talking, and before they knew it, it became a little cloudy outside. Zhang Chen looked at his watch and saw that it was already 5 o'clock, and Xiao Zhao was still waiting for him at home. He quickly stood up and said goodbye to Boss Lu, saying that he was going home. Boss Lu shouted, no, 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 you must appreciate it and let me treat you to dinner. Zhang Chen quickly said, I haven't told my family yet, my girlfriend is still waiting for me to go back. Then let's get together and call your girlfriend. Zhang Chen shook his head and said, we live far away and there is no phone, so it is very inconvenient to come and go. Thank you, Boss Lou, next time. Okay, it's settled, next time you must let me treat you and your girlfriend to dinner. It was already dark outside. Xiao Zhao stood in the corridor, waiting for Jiang Chen to come back. The wind blew a biting coldness on his face, but Xiao Zhao stood there with no intention of going back to the room. She wanted to watch here. Jiang Chen appeared on that path. From the entrance of the lower courtyard to the turning point of the path, there were 3 street lights. Several times, Xiao Zhao saw a figure riding a bicycle under the farthest street light, which looked very much like Jiang Chen. But when the second one came on, none. Xiao Zhao sighed in disappointment. Xiao Zhao stood there with his eyes wide open. He saw another figure that looked like Jiang Chen appearing under the farthest street lamp. When he appeared under the second street lamp again, Xiao Zhao smiled happily. This time that's right, who is it if it's not Jiang Chen? Xiao Zhao counted silently in her heart, thinking that when she counted to 20, Jiang Chen would definitely appear under the nearest street lamp. Xiao Zhao counted to 20, and Jiang Chen appeared under the street light as expected. Xiao Zhao quickly waved to him, and Jiang Chen also saw Xiao Zhao. He was holding the faucet in his left hand and waving to Xiao Zhao with his right hand. By the time Jiang Chen entered the yard, Xiao Zhao had already run to the stairs below. Jiang Chen hugged Xiao Zhao upstairs and entered the room. Xiao Zhao and Jiang Chen said, "I will heat up the food and it will be ready in a while." Jiang Chen looked at the dishes on the table and found that they had not been touched. He asked, "You haven't eaten either?" "No, if you don't come back, how dare I eat alone? What a risk. There is a Taiwanese boss ahead who wants to treat me to dinner. If I want to eat there, don't you have to starve to death at home," Jiang Chen said with a smile. Xiao Zhao said to him with a sad face, "I will really starve to death, my dear. So I wouldn't dare to eat it even to death." Jiang Chen said, and both of them laughed. After the two of them finished eating, Jiang Chen took out the drawings, paper, and pen. He wanted to calculate the approximate total cost of this project according to his plan, so that he would have a good idea when he reported to Manager Song tomorrow. There was no calculator at home, so Xiao Zhao sat aside and said, "You tell me, I'll do the math." The calculation by hand was so slow that the two of them had not even finished half of the calculation until almost 8 o'clock. Xiao Zhao said that he should take it to the work unit to do the calculation. There is a calculator in the work unit. The two of them got up and packed their things. Xiao Zhao worked the night shift today. Jiang Chen sent Xiao Zhao there and didn't go home. He slept with Xiao Zhao in the hotel's duty room. It was only 8:45 when they arrived at the Red Flag Hotel. Ziyulian looked at her watch and had nothing to say. The two of them sat there for a while, and were about to continue settling accounts. Some guests upstairs came down to ask for boiling water. They only then did I realize that Ziyulian, a lazy woman, didn't even bring boiled water to the room on the second floor. Xiao Zhao quickly got up and went to the boiler room to fill the piles of boiling water bottles with boiling water, and then sent them to each room. Jiang Chen stood up and wanted to help her, but Xiao Zhao said that he was not allowed to go, otherwise he would only act like a hooligan. Jiang Chen smiled and said, "I just see things and think about emotions." "What are you seeing?" Xiao Zhao blushed and cursed softly, "Just that pile of coal." "Yeah, that's coal with your body scent." "Rogue," Xiao Zhao scolded, "just stay here and settle your accounts. The calculator is in the drawer." After Xiao Zhao left, Jiang Chen continued to settle the accounts. When Xiao Zhao came back, his accounts were settled, and the total cost was about 20% lower than the original. Jiang Chen breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that now Manager Song had no reason to refuse. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 427. When Jiang Chen arrived at the company, Ji Fei hadn't come yet, but Manager Song had already arrived. Zhang Chen went directly to Manager Song's office. When Manager Song saw him coming in, he asked him, "How's it going? You took over yesterday." Zhang Chen said he would take over. "Did you see that Emperor Lu?" Zhang Chen knew that he was talking about boss Lu Bang, and Zhang Chen nodded, "I saw it, he invited me to drink tea, and we had a great chat." "You had a pleasant chat with boss Lu?" Manager Song seemed a little unconvinced. "Yes," Zhang Chen said. "Can we resume work on the construction site? There is no need to stop in the first place. It is all reinforcement work. No matter how the plan is adjusted, there is no need to stop on the construction site," Zhang Chen said. "Daniel and the others are waiting for me. I will let them continue after I get there." "Okay, then leave quickly and let them resume work. You don't know these workers. They are very troublesome. If they stop working for a few days, they will curse the sky and the earth. Maybe they will cause trouble in the company and make a mess here. Chaos." Zhang Chen thought to himself, even if they didn't come, your place would be chaotic enough. "It's okay, just understand. After all, if they don't work for a day, they won't get paid." "Manager Song, I have something to ask you for. I'll go over after I finish." Say Manager Song raised his hand. Zhang Chen then told Manager Song about his communication with boss Lu yesterday. Manager Song listened calmly. Zhang Chen couldn't tell from his face whether he agreed to restart the plan or not. When Zhang Chen told him the payment method that boss Lu asked him to tell him, Manager Song's eyes lit up and he quickly asked, "Then do you know in your mind that according to your plan, the total cost will be higher or lower than the original one?" "I did some calculations last night, and it should be about 10% lower than the original." Zhang Chen knew in his heart that there would definitely be some discrepancies between the actual final settlement of the project and what he estimated yesterday, so he did not dare to tell Manager Song that it was 20%, but only conservatively told him 10%. 10%? That means we made 10% more net profit and got 100,000 yuan in vain? Is such a good thing? Manager Song asked a series of questions. Zhang Chen said yes, and that's how boss Lu agreed. "Haha, let's do it. Why don't you do such a good thing? Do it right away. Don't worry, I will give you a design bonus after the project is completed." "Manager Song, I think you should talk to Ji Fio first. After all, this will completely overturn his plan." "What should you say to him? Can you tell me? Hasn't he already given up on this project? You were here yesterday and made it clear that at worst, his share of the bonus will be given to him. I think it's better to tell him first. Whether he is here or not, you ask him to come over. I didn't see him when I came. Needless to say, this idiot, by the time he arrives at the company, the sun will have set and the daylilies will have already cooled down." "It's okay, that's settled." Zhang Chen took out his sketchbook, turned to the page where boss Lu wrote the room number and phone number, and told Manager Song, "Boss Lu is still waiting for our news, should I inform him?" "Okay, let me know immediately." Zhang Chen dialed the switchboard of Wanghu Hotel and asked her to transfer 512. After the phone rang for a while, Lai Yanjiang's voice rang. "Which one?" "Hello, Boss Lu, my name is Zhang Chen." Oh, Xiao Zhang." When Boss Lu heard that it was Zhang Chen, he immediately cheered up. "Xiao Zhang, how are you doing there?" Zhang Chen told him that I was in Manager Song's office. Manager Song agreed and I would start designing the plan today. "Great, Xiao Zhang," Manager Song shouted. Manager Song took the microphone from Zhang Chen's hand and shouted, "Boss Lu, I am Lao Song, that payment plan is actually lower than the original contract, pay according to the original contract, higher than the original contract, pay according to the actual, no matter high or low, you pay another 100,000, right?" "That's right, that's right." Then when Xiao Zhang comes up with the plan, I'll go over to you and sign another contract. No problem. Then we have settled this matter. It's settled, don't worry, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, Liu Bang, will stick to my word. After putting down the phone, Manager Song looked at Zhang Chen and said, strange, why does Boss Liu seem to be a different person today? Zhang Chen smiled and said in his heart that it was because his headache was cured. When Zhang Chen left, he saw that the chicken feather seat was still empty, but this guy still hadn't come. Everyone in the company left, and Lu Ligan asked Wu Zia why to go back first. He said that he still had things to deal with and would call Peng Pengkar back later. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao left, and there was no news from Wen Wen and Jian Jian. Lu Ligan felt that it was really meaningless to return home. But sitting in the office is actually not interesting. Lu Ligan is different from Zhang Chen. He is not a person who can calm down at all. He walked to the sofa and sat down, picked up The Silent Dawn on the coffee table and flipped through it. After reading 2 pages, he felt that he had not read a word. He closed the book and threw it back on the coffee table. He didn't know what was going on with him. In the past, even when he went out to perform, everyone was crowded together in a ruined temple at night, or anywhere. He was used to using a flashlight or lighting a candle, holding a book, and reading at a glance. One night. This was how Tan Shahan was attracted to him in the beginning. No matter how deep the night was, when she woke up, she could see the faint light group on the other side of the curtain, and she knew that Lu Ligan was still reading. I don't know when, Tan Shahan started seeing this light, I felt very at ease in my heart. I turned over and continued to sleep with a smile. Later, when she saw this light, she felt a kind of warmth in her heart. For no reason, she would feel her face flush and her ears warm in the dark. She decided that a person who could read all night long must be a very motivated person. That's why she chose the not-so-bright star Lu Ligan among the stars in the moon. Another time, Lu Ligan remembered that it was in Taishan, and it was winter just like now. Winter in Wenzhou is also very cold, but unlike Heiken, after the performance, the whole group lived in the ancestral hall with the stage. Here, the women live on the covered stage and the men live under the open-air stage. Lu Ligan still habitually sits in bed and reads at night. With the help of a candle, the light was very dim. Maybe it was because he had been reading for a long time and his eyes felt a little tired. Maybe the group in front of him had a late-night snack and drank too much. Lu Ligan closed his eyes and wanted to take a rest, but nothing happened. Thinking about it, he fell asleep. When the book in his hand slipped, he knocked over the candle. The candle fell on Feng Logui's quilt next to him, setting the quilt on fire. The bunch of men were sleeping with their heads covered, and no one noticed it. Feng Logui still felt the cold quilt, and it finally became warmer when he fell asleep. Only Tan Shahan happened to wake up and look down the stage, but she didn't when she saw Lu Ligan and his candlelight. She saw a fire under the stage. Tan Shahan shouted loudly and was so confident that she not only woke up the people in the ancestral hall, but also the whole village. They ran over to take a look and saw that the women in the troupe were wearing single clothes. They escaped from inside and stood shivering in the cold wind. The men were pouring water on their quilts. Lu Ligan stared at the quiet Don River on the coffee table and sighed. He didn't know what was wrong with him. At that time, he always fantasized about having a comfortable sofa with bright lights, where he could curl up on the sofa. I read a book inside, and now I have all these things, but I can't read a single word. Lu Ligan picked up the mobile phone on the table, dialed Meng Ping, and asked where he was. I'm at Lingao, Pole, do you want to come over? Meng Ping said. Get out, Lu Ligan cursed. Meng Ping smiled and hung up the phone. Lu Ligan sat there blankly. He didn't know who to call next. Because of Lu Yun, the rift between him and Li Yong had not been eliminated. Although Li Yong would not hit him with an ink bottle again, before Lu Yun appeared, Lu Ligan knew that it was impossible for Li Yong to completely forgive him, and Lu Yun, so far, had not contacted anyone, and no one knew where she was. Lu Ligan threw his eldest brother to the other end of the sofa and couldn't help but smile bitterly. He seemed to know a lot of people in the city, but in fact there were only a few people he could talk to. In this city, there were only a few people who called him dear or husband. There were a lot of women, but when he went out, those women immediately forgot about him. He was not as good as Erbao. At least they still remembered Erbao and recognized him as a regular customer. Yourself, nothing. Lu Ligan missed Zhang Chen a little. It turned out that someone knew where he was at any time and anywhere, and could call him over with just one phone call. No matter what time he told him, let's go and have a drink, and the two of them could ride the moonlight. People who walk all the way are so rare. However, he doesn't even know where Zhang Chen is now. He felt that he had never been so lonely in the city. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 428. Lu Ligan stood up, walked to the window, and looked outside. Longkan North Road was completely alive. The entire Haikan had finally woken up from the long dream of the first month and was alive. Not only alive, but also it seems to be more lively. Almost every day, people bring their friends who have just arrived from mainland China to Lu Ligan to ask him about real estate issues. They all heard the news and were planning to come to Hainan to invest in real estate. They heard from friends, and some heard from friends of friends. With a friend like Lu Ligan, a legend in Haikan, of course they had to ask him to introduce them to them. These people, most of them were introduced to Mengping by Lu Ligan, so Mengping was even busier. Mengping never tires of it. Lu Ligan made up his mind that no matter how the wind blows, whether it turns into a typhoon or a super typhoon, he still has to concentrate on the Jinghai International Financial Center project. This is the basis for his foothold in Haikan. Lu Ligan feels that his current reputation in Haikan is fictitious. Only by completing this project and having the tallest building in Haikan stand firmly in the Kuomao district will his reputation in Hainan be solidified and have a real name. Various opportunities will come one after another, and you don't have to worry about no projects later. Lu Ligan won't do the land speculation at least now, so he should let Mengping do it. He doesn't have so much energy. Another important point is that Lu Ligan watches Mengping do this every day. He felt a little uneasy and even afraid when he was hanging around with those people. He thought of Huang Meili's father, Huang Hongguang, the man who jumped from the roof of his company. That slender man with a sharp gaze like a boss. Without his lessons, Lu Ligan felt that he would definitely be like Mengping. He and Mengping might become the black and white evil spirits who opened up the officialdom of Haikan. After all, that would be in line with his personality. Lu Ligan's current thinking is that he has to get close to those people, but not too close. It is best to treat them with the same attitude as Kong Lao towards ghosts and gods, which is to keep a respectful distance. Lu Ligan reminded Mengping. Mengping said it's okay, I just got out of these people, Pol, if I hadn't come to Haikan, I would be in Wuxi now, just like these people, haha, you have to come to Wuxi to do business. Maybe they will take care of me. Lu Ligan smiled. He felt that it was impossible to be fine. Mengping overestimated himself. Even Huang Hongguang couldn't control it. Why can you, Mengping, control it? There is a force that once it bites back at you, it's the ferocity and momentum may knock you out instantly, just like receiving an old punch from Xiao Wu. By the time you react, you have lost the ability to resist. It's better to be careful, Lu Ligan and Mengping said. Mengping said I understand, thank you, Pol. But Lu Ligan felt that Mengping didn't know. Lu Ligan looked at the neon sign of the Tang No Bath Hot Spring opposite. He wanted to go there but was too lazy to go. In that place, it can indeed make you forget your loneliness and even melancholy, but Lu Ligan felt that after coming out, he would just you feel even more lonely. It doesn't feel like you woke up from a gentle land, but more like you were suddenly lifted off the quilt in the middle of winter and poured a basin of cold water on you. Tuk tuk tuk. Someone behind him knocked on the open glass door several times. Lu Ligan was startled. He turned around and saw Zheng Wei standing at the door, smiling at him. Lu Ligan rushed over in a few steps. Hug her. Zheng Wei was caught off guard and was a little at a loss. After hesitating for a moment, she also hugged Lu Ligan, and the two kissed passionately. The two people sat up on the carpet, leaning against the sofa, grabbing the clothes on the side and covering them casually. Give me a cigarette, Zheng Wei said. Lu Ligan leaned over from the coffee table, took his cigarettes and lighter, took out one, put it in his mouth, lit it, and then handed it to Zheng Wei, who took it. Lu Ligan took out the second one and gave it to light it yourself. Why the hell did I just obey? I should have castrated you. Zheng Wei leaned his head on Lu Ligan's shoulder and cursed. Lu Ligan laughed. I'm serious, Zheng Wei said. I knew you would be happy when I came back, but I didn't expect you would be so happy to be so rough and direct, without even a humming pretentious transition. Do you like it? Lu Ligan asked. Zheng Wei said and then said, it's like piercing a layer of window paper at once. By the way, did you already know that I like you? Lu Ligan said that he was right and asked, did you already know that I also like you? Forget it, otherwise I wouldn't come back. By the way, you are coming back. Why didn't you call to let me know first so that I could pick you up? Lu Ligan asked. Zheng Wei didn't say anything. She took a deep breath of cigarette and spit it out again. Lu Ligan understood and shouted, I understand, do you want to give me a surprise? Zheng Wei didn't say yes or no, but said, damn it, I don't understand myself more and more. I'm already dozens of years old, and I still think I'm a girl. After saying that, she took another puff of cigarette. Lu Ligan laughed wildly, pulled her face, and kissed her. She spit out the cigarette in her mouth to Lu Ligan, who almost being choked. Zheng Wei laughed happily. That's not right, Lu Ligan said. What's wrong? You didn't notify me, why didn't Sun Ho call me? Are you on good terms? Tongfu, I didn't tell him that I came to Hiken. Maybe I will inform him tomorrow that I am here to work. Maybe, I should go back to Beijing tomorrow. Why? Lu Ligan was surprised. Maybe I shouldn't even come. If I knew you were so direct when I met you, to be honest, I might have been frightened in Beijing and wouldn't have dared to come. Zheng Wei sighed softly, and she said, originally, I want you to help me come up with ideas, and also, I will feel sorry if I don't say goodbye to you in person. Lu Ligan felt that Zheng Wei's words were a bit strange. He said, it's impossible. As long as you come, I won't let you go. That's not up to you, Zheng Wei said. Do you know who I am? Lu Ligan nodded. You are Zheng Wei. Zheng Wei smiled. Actually, my surname should not be Zheng. My uncle's surname is Zheng. I took his surname. Zheng Wei looked back at Lu Ligan and saw the surprised look on his face. Zheng Wei continued to smile. It's not as complicated as you think. Do you know that Sun Ho's father is not named Sun? Holy shit, what's that last name? Don't ask, this is why we don't all take our father's surname. Do you understand? Many of us, including my brothers and sisters, are like this. There is no special reason, it's just need. Some of them are organizations. Some of them are needed by my own family. I understand, is it for safety or to avoid suspicion? Both. I don't care, your last name is fine. You don't care? Then do you know if I'm married? I don't care, I just like you as a person and don't care about anything else. You don't care? Okay. Zheng Wei was silent for a moment and said slowly, I have been married for 3 years. Although my husband and I have not been together for more than 3 months, when we were together, They also treat each other with respect and etiquette, not like a couple at all, but like familiar strangers, but after all, we are married. Zheng Wei looked at Lu Ligan and asked, "Do you know now why I said that I probably shouldn't even come?" Lu Ligan took out another cigarette, lit it, handed it to Zheng Wei, took the cigarette butt from her hand, and then lit a cigarette himself. "I don't care," Lu Ligan said, "I only know that I have also broken the precept." "What precept did you break?" "I used to have a requirement for myself that I could touch any woman, except women from my own company, but now I can." Zheng Wei punched him hard. "Damn it, you feel wronged, don't you?" Lu Ligan took the cigarettes from her hand, threw both cigarettes into the ashtray, and the two hugged each other again. Lu Ligan's big brother rang. Lu Ligan picked up the phone, and Meng Ping called on the phone. "Gangzi, I'm on my way back to Haikan from Lingao, what do you think?" When Lu Ligan saw Zheng Wei looking at him, Lu Ligan said to Meng Ping, "Wait a moment." He covered the phone, put it away a little, and smiled with Zheng Wei, "Another person who misses you very much." "Who is it?" "Your comrade in arms, Lao Meng, he is on his way back to Haikan now." "Do you want to see him?" Zheng Wei nodded. Lu Ligan let go of his hand covering the phone and said to Meng Ping, "Meng Ping, there is someone you miss very much in my office." "What do you think?" "Go away, there is no one I miss in Haikan," Meng Ping cursed. "Zheng Wei, do you miss her?" "What did you say?" "Zheng Wei is back." "Haha, I think about it, I miss her so much," Meng Ping shouted. "You two, just stay in the office, don't go anywhere, wait for me come back, let's have a midnight snack at the Lion House." Meng Ping shouted so loudly that even Zheng Wei heard it, and she smiled slightly. Lu Ligan heard Meng Ping and Cao Ziahe say on the phone, hurry up, go directly to the Pole Company." Then the call was hung up. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 429. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei took the time to take a shower, got dressed, and sat down to wait for Meng Ping seriously. Although Meng Ping had not arrived in Haikan yet according to time, they always felt that Meng Ping could arrive at any time. Knocking on the door, Lu Ligan walked over, opened the office door, and opened the blinds near the large office area. The light in the office was very bright, and Zheng Wei began to become a little reserved and shy. Lu Ligan looked at her, and she said not to look. Lu Ligan laughed and still stared at her. Her face turned slightly red and she cursed softly, "Don't look at me like this." "Why?" "That one will be here soon." Lu Ligan smiled and said, "What does it have to do with who arrives and whether I want to see you?" "Stop looking, please, you make me feel uncomfortable," Zheng Wei said. Lu Ligan said okay, then turned his head and stopped looking at Zheng Wei. When the two people sat face to face across the desk, the topic naturally turned to work. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei talked about the company's recent situation, Chenji, and the finance department, and also talked about their plans and thinking of this. Zheng Wei couldn't help laughing. Lu Li was surprised. "Why are you laughing?" "How do I feel?" "We have switched seats. You are the vice president and I am the boss." "Okay, don't stop." "Vice President Lu, is there anything else you want to report to Mr. Zheng?" Lu Ligan also laughed. He asked Zheng Wei why there had been no news about Hainan's personnel arrangements from Beijing. "Maybe I haven't decided yet." "When I decide, they will also decide," Zheng Wei said. "I see. I just always feel strange and don't want to ask more questions." "Why don't you ask more?" "I'm worried that if I ask too many questions, Monkey Sun will have other ideas." "What idea?" Lu Ligan smiled and said, "I'm just worried that he will think that our relationship is unusual, although before today, our relationship was ordinary. Zheng Wei scolded, "Idiot, you don't ask others to suspect that our relationship is unusual, or that we are in contact in private. You think, the company's vice president of finance has not been in place for a long time. As the general manager, you care about this question, isn't it normal? It's normal for you to call me every day to remind me. On the contrary, it's abnormal for you to ignore me like this." Lu Ligan thought to himself, "Damn, this is really what happened." He said, "It seems that I am the guilty one. That's what it is." Zheng Wei said, her face blushed slightly. She stood up and said, "No, no, I can't sit with you, I'd better go back to my office. Lao Meng is here, you call me." "You have a guilty conscience, right?" Lu Ligan said with a smile. Zheng Wei glared at Lu Ligan, pointed at him, wanted to say something, but finally didn't say anything and walked out. Lu Ligan sat there, carefully recalling everything that had just happened. He felt that everything was like a dream, it happened too fast, but it happened. Not only did Zheng Wei feel sudden, but Lu Ligan himself felt very sudden when he thought about it now. Lu Ligan didn't understand that he was standing in front of the window. When he heard the knock on the door, he turned around and saw Zheng Wei standing at the door with a smile. He didn't even think about it and rushed over involuntarily. Did she hug her? Everything is the most subtle arrangement and the best arrangement. Lu Ligan thought to himself, if she went back today and Zheng Wei arrived at the company from the airport, she must not have expected that she would still be in the company at this time and not see her. She would probably stay at the Yedeo hotel opposite, and come back to the company when she goes to work tomorrow. In that case, there may still be some suppressed ambiguity and impulse between them, but they will control themselves with reason. Just like Zheng Wei said, that layer of window paper will never be pierced and will always stand between them. Humans are animals that are good at expressing themselves, and they are also animals that are good at covering up. Even if they cover up, they often make themselves regret it. Lu Ligan was glad that all this happened at this time of night. He was glad that he had nowhere to go tonight and did not go home or go to the Tang No Bath hot spring opposite. He was even glad that Meng Ping was not in Haikan. Fortunately, Li Yong has not ignored himself until now, otherwise, he would not be still in the office, waiting for that moment to come, and piercing the window paper in an instant. "Commissar! Commissar!" As soon as Meng Ping entered the door of their company, he shouted loudly. Lu Ligan hurriedly walked to the door of the office. Zheng Wei also walked to the door of her own office. Zheng Wei waved to Meng Ping and then glanced at Lu Ligan from a distance. Meng Ping saw the two of them, appearing at the two doors almost at the same time. Before he could decide whether to go to Zheng Wei or Lu Ligan first, Zheng Wei turned around and turned off the lights in his office, closed the door behind him, and left. "Come over." Meng Ping stood there, looked at her and asked. "When did you arrive?" "In the evening, when you called Mr. Lu, I had just arrived," Zheng Wei said with a smile. The two shook hands and walked toward Lu Ligan's office together. Entering Lu Ligan's office, Lu Ligan felt that Meng Ping was stunned for a moment. He glanced at Zheng Wei and Lu Ligan's hair that was still a little wet. He subconsciously turned his head to look at the bathroom behind him. He saw nothing. Did not say. Although it was only a short moment, both Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei noticed it. This was probably due to a guilty conscience. After all, in this office, only Lu Ligan had a shower room. Zheng Wei came all the way and was so busy that he used the bathroom to take a shower. It's normal to take a shower, but what's wrong with Lu Lipol also taking a shower? Normally, shouldn't he take a shower after returning home? Meng Ping, a guy who has been dormant in the office for a long time, is too sensitive to all the subtle changes in the office. Zheng Wei's face turned slightly red, and she glanced at Lu Ligan with some annoyance, meaning, "So what, it's all your fault if you're exposed." Lu Ligan also felt a little embarrassed. Fortunately, Meng Ping immediately came to their rescue. Meng Ping shouted, "Let's go, Lion Tower, to meet the political commissar." Lu Ligan scolded, "Stop being pretentious, you should sit down first and ask what you want to ask, otherwise you will not be able to drink at ease later and you will be restless." Meng Ping chuckled, and Zheng Wei also smiled slightly and said, "I'm not hungry yet, so I'll go later." The two people sat down on the sofa. Lu Lizan poured water for them, and then he also took a glass of water and sat down. The three of them occupied 3 positions on the sofa. "Okay, Lao Meng, what do you want to ask?" Zheng Wei looked at Meng Ping and said. "The news is very confusing now, and everything is said. I just want to know, will this situation develop in a good direction or the opposite? I have talked about a lot of places, and the preliminary work is almost done, but I am undecided. I don't know. Should I take it? If I don't take it, I'm afraid of missing the opportunity. If I take it, I'm afraid of falling into a pit and not being able to climb out," Meng Ping said. Take it boldly, as I told you before I left, the situation will be surprisingly good. Before the end of next month, there will be big news, and it is likely to be another ideological emancipation," Zheng Wei said. "Great," Meng Ping clapped his hands, stood up and said, "Let's go, we can go for midnight snack now." "What the hell, is that all you ask?" Lu Ligan asked strangely. "Of course, the good medicine will work as soon as it is applied," Meng Ping shouted. "Besides, even if I ask about this kind of thing again, it is not convenient for the political commissar to say it. If the general direction is correct, don't care about the details. It depends on the person to make things happen. The sky above is ours. If the weather is clear, what you can accomplish depends on your own abilities." Zheng Wei said, "Lao Meng, you are really a loss to the organization if you go to sea. If you are still in the agency, you will have a bright future." All 3 people laughed. Meng Ping shook his head and said, "No, I am too aggressive and the possibility of becoming a pioneer will be higher." When they got downstairs, Qian Fang and Cao Ziahe were waiting for them in the car. They got in the car. Meng Ping and Cao Ziahe said, "Go to the Lion House, we will get drunk today." Qian Fang cursed, No, if you're drunk, Sister Cao and I will be the unlucky ones." The 5 of them ate at the Lion House until about 2 o'clock. When they went downstairs, Meng Ping asked Lu Ligan, "Where are you going?" Lu Ligan asked Zheng Wei, "Are you staying at Wanghai Tower or Yedao Hotel?" "My luggage is still in the office." "Sister Cao, please take me to the company," Zheng Wei and Cao Ziahe said. "Then take us to the company, and I'll take her to the Yedao Hotel opposite." "You can go," Lu Ligan and Meng Ping said. Meng Ping said yes. They returned to the company. Zheng Wei took the luggage and downcoat. Lu Ligan took the downcoat in his hand and said with a smile, "I haven't seen a downcoat in several years." "Yes, the difference between Beijing and Haikan is a downcoat, a pair of long johns and a woolen sweater," Zheng Wei said with a smile. The 2 of them got off the elevator and walked to the door of Longja building. Zheng Wei stopped. She whispered to Lu Ligan, "I don't want to stay in a hotel." "Where do you live?" Lu Ligan asked. Zheng Wei stood there, blushing. Lu Ligan understood and shouted happily, "Okay, let's go home in an open car." Lu Ligan stretched out his hand, and a caravan stopped beside them. "Thank you Qian Dad for your monthly ticket. Thanks for the tip that makes reading a book feel different. Thank you for every recommendation, vote and reading. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 430. The 2 of them were lying there. Zheng Wei looked around at the dark surroundings and said to Lu Ligan, "This place is nice." Lu Ligan almost laughed out loud. He asked, "Is this a compliment, a joke, or just a pretense?" "Of course it's a compliment," Zheng Wei chuckled. "This place is a little different from your Mr. Lu status, but it's quite comfortable. Lu Ligan said, yes, I'm used to living here and don't want to change. I'm used to the landlord, the neighbors, the food on the street here, and I'm even used to the bad guys here. If I come back from get off work every day, I'm not used to not being able to see them. I understand, people just like to live in the stratosphere, Zheng Wei said. You are swearing without using curse words. What you mean is that I am the same as those bad guys. I didn't say that, you said it yourself. Zheng Wei rubbed his face against Lu Ligan's face and laughed, but your temperament fits here well. You just want to laugh at me as a working people. No way, I mean you are down to earth. You are not the kind of person who insists on discipline every day. Ever since I was a child, I have seen such people in my life. I hate them so much. Zheng Wei was annoyed. He said, damn it, that's probably how I'm attracted to you. There's something about you that I think is very charming. Okay, this sounds like praise. Lu Ligan smiled. It's just a compliment, otherwise how would I like you? The two then hugged, kissed, and did what they should do. Thank you, Zheng Wei and Lu Ligan said. Thank me for what? Lu Ligan asked confusedly. I have always been repelled by this kind of thing. I really didn't expect it to be so beautiful and make people look forward to it. Zheng Wei said, I haven't had more than one day in a year. I used to be able to hide, just hide, really. Maybe it's because he's the wrong person. You don't like him? Zheng Wei nodded and said thoughtfully, that may be the case. Sometimes when he touches me, I will avoid it and think rationally that I shouldn't be like this. Lu Ligan was surprised. He asked, why would you marry him if you don't like him? Do you think I have a choice? Zheng Wei's face darkened, and she said, in your opinion, people like us are probably very majestic, impressive, and even a little mysterious, right? Isn't that so, Prince and Princess? Bullshit. Well, I admit that in a sense, it may be that when you go out, you meet people who flatter you everywhere, but you know clearly in your heart that people are like this not because of you, but because of you. It's your family, so isn't that boring? You feel like you're just a puppet of your family. From childhood to adulthood, which elementary school I went to, which class I went to, then middle school, then college and work, were all arranged by my family. I had no freedom to choose by myself, including falling in love and getting married. We all in inbreeding, there are only two options, either the children of comrades or colleagues, or the children of old leaders. Nowadays, when we often have meetings, haha, everyone on the stage and off the stage are all relatives. This is my stratosphere. Damn it, it's just another Huang Jianren. So when I saw Huang Jianren, I very much hoped that he would be an anomaly. I could challenge him and have a different result. But in the end, still the same. I don't believe it. There are so many of you, so you have no other choice, Lu Ligan asked. Yes, there are some who are married or married to workers. They are from my brother and sister's generation. My sister-in-law is a textile worker. At that time, the old men themselves were being beaten down and were being re-educated below. How could they not agree to it? With my consent, there will be no such thing anymore, don't even think about it, there is no way. Do you know how my sister-in-law is doing now? In that big family, she is like an old woman. Anyone can control her. Even her family members dare not come to the door. I can't stand it, Zheng Wei sneered. What does he do? Lu Ligan asked. Who? Oh, in Europe, the third secretary of the embassy, and the families on both sides want me to go out as a family member this year. Do you understand? This is the reason, I really don't want to go out. What are I going to do? We meet 2 people a year, it's too many times, but we still have to be together every day, isn't that disgusting? The 2 people were talking, and it was already dawn outside. Zheng Wei fell down and said, I'm sleepy and tired. Let's go to sleep. Hug me, Zheng Wei said softly. Lu Ligan hugged her, and Zheng Wei curled up in Lu Ligan's arms and fell asleep quickly. The sound of car horns downstairs woke them up. Zheng Wei looked at Lu Ligan and asked, "Is it Wu Zai who came to pick you up?" Lu Lipol nodded. "Don't go, stay here with me." Lu Ligan said yes. He walked to the corridor outside and waved to Wu Zai below. When Wu Zai got out of the car, Lu Ligan told him that he was not feeling well today and wanted to take a day off. "You should go to the company." Wu Zai turned around, got in the car, and drove away. Lu Ligan finally completed his first day of absence from work in Hiken. Lu Ligan returned to the room and saw Zheng Wei had already gotten up and sat on the sofa outside. Zheng Wei looked at him and said, "I will not go to the company, and you should not tell other people in the company that I am back." Lu Ligan said yes, and he smiled and said, "When are you going to make your debut?" Zheng Wei looked directly at Lu Ligan without saying a word. She saw Lu Ligan's heart trembling and asked, "Why are you looking at me like that?" Zheng Wei said slowly, "What would you think if I said I would never go to the company again? What's the meaning? I know why I have been thinking about coming to Hiken since I am in Beijing. I lied to myself and said it was because the work here has not been handed over yet. In fact, it is not. I know now." "What do you know?" "The thing I can't let go of the most in Hiken is actually you. Don't kid yourself. I came to Hiken just to see you." Lu Ligan wanted to go over and hug her, but Zheng Wei stretched out his hand and made a stop motion. She said, "You stand there and move your hands and feet when you get close. You can't even speak properly." Lu Ligan stood there, smiling playfully. "Okay, let's talk." Zheng Wei nodded, "Thank you for piercing the window paper, otherwise, I don't know if I would go back to Beijing with regrets and ask you something." "What's up? Do you think the longing between a man and a woman will never end before they share a bed?" Lu Ligan smiled and said, "What do you think?" "I think so. I'm very satisfied now, so thank you." "A bit of a gangster." "Hey, I mean seriously, we are all adults, don't you think we can discuss this seriously?" Lu Ligan thought for a moment, then he chuckled, "I don't like thinking, I just like doing." Zheng Wei sighed and said, "Okay, I admit that I like it now, but that doesn't stop us from discussing the problem." "Are you tired then?" "I'm not tired. At least I know what I want. I don't want to leave any regrets." Lu Lizan heard something in her words, and his heart trembled, and he asked, "What do you mean?" "I have thought about it carefully and decided to return to Beijing tomorrow." Zheng Wei looked at Lu Ligan and said, "Why?" Lu Ligan felt extremely annoyed. The last time he said this to him was Lu Yun. They came to him all because they wanted to tell him, "Do they want to leave tomorrow?" Lu Ligan thought that the last time he told him that he was leaving tomorrow was Huang Mei, although not here, but in Kua Shang's room. Damn it, is Hiken unable to keep a woman he likes, or is he unable to keep her? "I can't keep it," Zheng Wei said seriously. "Then what if I don't let you go?" Lu Ligan said. "Don't be stupid, you can't keep me." Zheng Wei smiled bitterly. "If they find out that I left Beijing and came to Hainan, it will be a big deal. Not only you, but also our bank president will be in trouble. Huang Jianren's you have seen it once, and this time it will only be more spectacular." "I do not care." "Don't be stupid." "I do not care." "Don't be stupid, unless we hide in Wuzishan to be savages and forget about everything else, but to be honest, I can't stand that kind of suffering." Zheng Wei paused and continued, "That's it, I don't know if they will find me." Lu Ligan stood there, and Zheng Wei stretched out his hand, "Come here." Lu Ligan stood still, and Zheng Wei called out, "Dear, come here." Lu Ligan walked over. Zheng Wei took his hand and pulled him over. The two of them hugged each other. Zheng Wei said to him, "We still have more than 20 hours, so stay with me, okay?" Lu Ligan nodded, and Zheng Wei started to cry, I really want to be with you, but this is impossible. After today, just forget about me. I can't forget it, Lu Ligan said. I don't believe that there is no one in this world who can't be forgotten. I will try my best to forget you, Zheng Wei kept crying. Otherwise, I tell you, there is no way to continue this life.